Hello, I'm Eimontas Jankauskis and you're watching UniTV. Today we'll be looking back at some of the most important stories covered over the previous term. Our top stories this episode include: students march across Sussex campus this November in a protest for free university education. Brighton and Hove MP Caroline Lucas visits Sussex campus to turn on the 3,000 newly installed solar panels. And protesters gathered outside the All Saints Centre in Lewes to demonstrate against controversial speaker and columnist Katie Hopkins. Our first story today is the free education march that took place in early November across Sussex campus. Edward Bains covers the story.
So I'm here at the Fight Fees demo for free education on Sussex University campus. As you can see, they're outside Sussex House trying to send a message to the university management. And what are you protesting about?
We're protesting for free education, so we're going to the national demonstration next Wednesday. We are providing a free bus, but this is kind of more at a local level and the things that we can do.
It's not just about getting rid of tuition fees, it's about maintenance grants, it's about access to education for care leavers, having like a liberatory education, a decolonised education, a feminist education, and it is possible. I think if we keep fighting, I mean, it's, as you said, it's on Labour's manifesto, and that's because of student activism and student engagement in this stuff, and I think if we keep pushing, we do have some power.
They say cut back! We say fight back! They say cut back! We say fight back!
What are you guys protesting about today?
So basically, they recently increased fees, both international and at home. At home, they increased it from 9,000 to 9,250. So it's a counter-protest to that. But we're also talking about other things, you know, the fact that rent is incredibly high. Talking about counselling, like the fact it takes 6 weeks or longer to get an appointment with a therapist. Just the fact that, you know, university is just becoming inaccessible and unaffordable for so many students.
And what message do you hope to send?
Well, we want to send to management, you know, that the student movement is still going, it's still got teeth, and that if they still keep messing around, if they keep thinking that they can just take as many pounds out of our pocket and keep extorting us, that they're going to end up with a seriously deducted paycheck and bank account at the end of this year.
The University of Sussex Students' Union was placed in the national spotlight last term following a row over free speech with UKIP MEP Bill Etheridge. Liberate the Debate, a student-led society, invited Etheridge to give a talk on libertarianism and free speech. As with any external speaker that comes to campus, the Students' Union had to conduct a risk assessment. Due to some previous controversial statements, Etheridge was labelled by the USSU as a medium to high-risk speaker. Even so, the union decided to go on with the event. However, they did ask Liberate the Debate to take certain safety measures. Among others, they asked that security be present at the event and that an academic should be sat on the panel to provide balance and analysis to Etheridge. They also required Etheridge to submit his speech before the event so that it could be vetted by the union. Liberate the Debate cancelled the event that was supposed to take place in a lecture theatre. Instead, they decided to invite Etheridge to address their members just outside of the campus.
So I'm coming here to face people and talk to people. They can tell me what they think and argue back. So I have no idea why they classify me as such, but I'm having it on business cards and I'm medium to high risk from here on in.
When asked for a comment, Frida Gustafsson, USSU president, said, quote, "At no point were these restrictions intended to keep the event from happening, and in truth we were surprised to see the way the story came to be portrayed in various national media outlets," end quote. Our next story comes from the Lewes Speakers Festival that took place in late November. One of the guests expected to speak at the festival was controversial columnist Katie Hopkins. We go once again to Edward Bains for all of the details on the story.
I'm here outside the All Saints Centre in the town of Lewes, a few miles outside of Brighton, where the Lewes Speakers Festival is being held. One of the guests invited here today is controversial columnist Katie Hopkins, who's here to talk about her new book, Rude, as well as giving a short Q&A after. A large crowd of protesters has gathered outside the church behind me to protest Katie's views and her presence at the festival today.
No hate, no fear, refugees are welcome here! No hate, refugees are welcome here!
What's brought you here today?
Well, because Katie Hopkins has come to Lewes and I want to protest her being here because she just says hate speech constantly.
There's been a lot of debate recently about free speech and the limitations of it, and whether we should be giving a platform to speakers like Katie Hopkins. What do you guys think about that?
I do think free speech is something we need, but I do think people who use the concept of free speech to say offensive things shouldn't be given a platform.
That's tricky. I think she should be able to speak, but I think equally you should be able to protest.
So Katie Hopkins has just tweeted that she has left the building and is apparently no longer giving the speech.
I'm glad the people of Lewes protested tonight, and I'm glad to see she was unable to speak. I'm all for freedom of speech, but not if it means hatred and xenophobia, racism.
Were you trying to attend the speech today?
Yeah, I was, but unfortunately that wasn't possible.
Do you consider yourself like a fan of Katie Hopkins, or did you just want to hear what she had to say?
Definitely not a fan, but I guess as a politics student it's good. It makes sense for me to get as much experience of what's going on as I can.
Madeira Terrace, the Grade 2 listed structure running along the seafront, will be undergoing renovation works following a successful crowdfunding campaign. News Hit field reporter Mike Coe spoke to the council leader Warren Morgan and residents of Brighton for their thoughts on the matter.
Councillor Morgan, thank you very much for having us here today. First of all, congratulations on the successful campaign to save the Madeira Terrace. What are your thoughts about this now that we have about a weekend to settle down?
I'm still delighted, really, that we've achieved the target. It's we think the biggest public place crowdfunding appeal that's ever been conducted.
Given the success for the crowdfunding to save the Madeira Terrace, is the council considering using the crowdfunding method to support other kinds of initiatives?
As council funds become ever more restricted, we're in the process of losing £100 million from our annual grant from the government. We need to look at other ways of dealing with public space infrastructure.
Do you think it's appropriate for the council to use crowdfunding to save the Madeira Terrace?
Yes, I do. Council, their money's been cut by government, so it's good that they can do this and people support it.
I think it's appropriate to raise public awareness, get people thinking, get public appetite raised, but we need professional fundraisers. This needs to be a true capital campaign. It needs to be a long-term campaign to ensure sustainability.
Two members of the Climate Action Movement Society at Sussex, Sebastian Kay and Paris Palmano, have become co-claimants in a lawsuit against the UK government. The other 10 claimants aged 9 to 79 include a primary school student, a rabbi and a lawyer. Climate Action Movement, in partnership with legal charity Plan B, hope to compel the government to adjust carbon targets for 2050. This adjustment should reflect both the international obligations set by the Paris Agreement and advancements in climate technology.
We can no longer rely on our politicians to do what's right and to introduce emission reductions that are in alignment with what the science tells us.
In an effort to reduce their own carbon footprint, Sussex University has undergone the biggest ever university solar project in the UK. With over 3,000 solar panels installed across campus, the university aims to halve its carbon emissions by 2020. Here is Sam Kennard with the details of the story.
Today we're at the meeting house where students were invited to attend a talk entitled The Future's Bright, Turning Sussex Green. The Brighton Pavilion MP, Caroline Lucas, will be turning on solar panels that were installed across campus this summer. With over 3,000 solar panels installed across campus, the University of Sussex strives to be one of the most environmentally friendly campuses in the United Kingdom. The event will continue with a panel hosted by editor of the Carbon Brief and Sussex alumni Leo Hickman. The panel will also include Caroline Lucas, MP, Jan Selby, Professor of International Relations, Florian Kern, Co-Director of the Sussex Energy Group, and Simon Neal, Director of Estates and Facilities Management. I'm here with Gillian from Climate Action Movement, who sat in on the event today. How did you think the discussion went?
It went well. It would have been nice to have seen a bit more of Caroline, but unfortunately time restraints. But it was definitely positive for the university, and I'm really hoping that the university can involve us in this, because the Go Greener, I haven't heard about it yet, but it looks like it has so much potential to do so much great for this university.
Joined with Matthew Arnold. Could you just discuss your role in the project?
Yes, I'm the energy manager for Sussex Estates and Facilities. Myself and an external company, Solar Advanced Systems, have put the foundations for this project.
Sure. And how do you feel the event went today?
I think it was a very, very positive event. Everyone has embraced the solar panel project, and this is really just the start. This is just the start of a campus-wide shift. There's awareness drives that are happening right now with staff and students, and next academic year will look a lot better than this year.
And those were our main stories covered over the previous term. This has been News Hit. I'm Eimontas Jankauskis. Thank you so much for watching.